Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know when you're listening to this, but today's episode is gonna be one of one, right? If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, do me a favor, reshare this on your story and tag me if you're liking these podcasts and if you like to just motivate me in staying consistent, right? I'm also gonna be shooting this for YouTube, so if you're watching this from YouTube, do me a favor, click the link below. Go check out the recent episodes that I've been doing on the Natural Born Leader podcast, because I've realized that podcast is going to be easier for me to it's easier for me to produce because I just come here every morning and I just say what's on my mind. It's almost like it's literally like writing my daily emails, but instead I'm just, communicating through my voice. And I like it, right? I'm also going to probably tone down the amount of content I'm putting out on YouTube, because I know that YouTube is definitely something that you should focus, that should be more quality over quantity. But of course, quality and quantity is best. But for now, I'm not a machine. I'm also a human who needs rest. But today, what I wanted to share with you guys is, so last night before going to bed, I thought about, the fact that I'm at a point where in my company, we're booking, over 600, almost 600 calls a month organically, right? And we're now starting to dabble into ads. So we're going to go crazy on appointment setting. But I wanted to share with, I asked myself, like, hey, if I had to start up again, client acquisition.io, and I had to share one single lesson to help me master the art of appointment setting, okay? What would that advice be? And I think I know what that advice would be, so I want to share it with you guys today. So a few weeks ago, I realized I made an observation, okay? Something that's pretty alarming, okay? So I'll use two growth specialists as an example to share with you guys this lesson. So I was looking at, so every month I'll look at the numbers and the performance of my growth team, and I compared one growth specialist who's using their own profile, who's doesn't have as much content, as much sales assets, that's what I call them. And then another one who was using my profile, who had content, who had, people who kind of like had gone through sales assets before they started engaging with me on my profile, okay? So they both had booked 100 sales calls in a single month, okay? But this is where things became kind of like alarming in a way that, you guys will get the lesson, okay? But check this out. 100 sales calls booked. One had maybe 70% qualification rate, and another one had maybe 50%, okay? And the people who are qualified, they go on to a call to actually get a walkthrough session, to actually be, for us to explain to them the infrastructures that we build. And half of them show up on the growth specialists who didn't have my profile, right? And on the other one, they have maybe like a 75, 85% show up rate, okay? Now, even from those who ended up buying, the GS who had pushed people through my, who had booked a call from my profile versus the one who had used just their own profile, the closing rate was, first of all, the sales cycle was twice as short, right? So if someone took 2 weeks to close, or if someone took a month to close, the person who came from my profile only took maybe a week or two for the other who would normally take a month, okay? Now, the amount spent, so the amount spent, invested in our company, in our programs, was 3 times as high from the person who had came from my profile versus the person who had booked a call from the GS's profile, okay? And not only this, the closing rate, the amount of closed deals that came from the GS who had my profile versus the other one was 5 times as much. Let me repeat this. Sales cycle is twice as short. Closing rate is 5 times higher. So that means that for each deal that is closed from the GSs, the appointment setter who's not using my sales assets and my content, is 5 times. So for each closed deal on a setter who doesn't have any assets, for the GS who has an asset, it's 5 close. So for every deal, you get 5 deals on a GS who has assets. okay? And they also have the tendency to spend 2 to 3x as much. They have the tendency to buy 2 to 3 times as much, okay? So what did I get from observing these metrics, okay? This is what we're going to start doing with anything related to appointment setting. Rule number 1 is there's no point in me or for our clients to try to book calls with strangers who don't know anything about what they do, okay? And I came up with this rule, which is you need to out-educate to out-sell. We're in an industry where the old age of just like, oh, I'll send a cold email and then I'll get you on a call and then I'll close you is stupid. Is the dumbest thing possible. And funny enough, some people will listen to this and or watch this and they'll be like, oh, but I do cold email, it works. I do LinkedIn, it works. I do some other dumb shit and it works. I'm like, yeah, it works 1 out of 5 times. Like, yes, it works, but like, is it necessarily the best path for you? Is it the most optimal acquisition workflow? No. Because for the same amount of effort, you could be getting 5 times as much from the same amount of activities, okay? So what we've decided to do with all our clients, and I know some clients will be watching this, and maybe you guys will be learning this here, is out-educate to outsell, out-educate to outset, out-educate to outset, to outsell, to outperform. What do I mean by out-educate? I mean that now moving forward, our sales process is going to be really simple, at least when it comes to our appointment setting process. The step-by-step is we're going to leverage one DM. So we've built this one DM that has like 2 questions in it, and it gets ridiculous amounts of response rate, so positive replies. Once we get that positive reply, we're going to offer a process selling VSL. The purpose of this VSL is to actually show the person how you solve their problems. All right? I believe that if you're not telling someone how you solve their problems before you try to book them on a call, before you try closing them, you're losing out on 10 times as much as you're currently making. So if you're at 10K a month, I believe that if you could productize your kind of like your process around serving your clients and put it into like a VSL, a short one, 10 minutes, we help our clients build it. I think you could go to 100K per month in less than 90 days. And this is why. Imagine you have 3 setters, okay? Let's say you're spending $1,000 a month on VAs, right? Or you could find commission only growth specialist. Let's say you take $1,000, you allocate it to 3 VAs. Each VA is going to be sending 100 to 200 DMs per day, okay? So that's around 300 to 600 DMs volume per day. By the way, if you can achieve this type of volume every day, you're going to get really lucky and rich. But so now check this out. We know that we're going to get at least 20% response rate on these DMs, which means that we're going to get 60 to 120 replies from all these DMs. But let's try to keep it at 50 replies from all the DMs, okay? That you should expect every day. The reason why we're getting replies is because we have a consultative approach of DMing people, okay? If you're in the program, check out the training that I did. And if you need help building it, reach out to me, Sam, or anyone, and we'll show you how to position it. So we use that consultative like DM approach, and then we offer this process. Like, hey, we actually can show you how to solve your problems. Is it cool for us to share with you this video? So this is an evergreen VSL. We don't need to make personalized videos. We don't need to do all these assets, because before we used to do a lot of personalized videos. So we make one video. And then all the VAs have to do is as soon as someone says yes, they send that asset. And this asset, I personally believe that he should be booking 50%, 25 to 50% of everyone who goes through it. Now, what that means is if you're sending it to 50 people, and let's say there is a 60% view rate, let's say there is, 35 people who watch it, half of those people, so 17 people, I think, 17, 18 people, should be interested in booking a call with you. Now, out of those, maybe half of them will actually say yes to receiving a booking link. and then half of those should be booking a call. So that means that half of the 17 people who watch the VSL, which is 8 people, 9 people, will be interested in booking a call. And out of 8 to 9 people who are interested in booking a call, 3 to 4 will actually book a call with you that day. Guys, this is literally how we're scaling companies. We're putting setters in their companies who can do shit ton of volume. We're building them a VSL, a process selling VSL, something that can out educate the prospects. We want to outgive value. We want to beat our competition. So if you have people who are competing with you and they're sending cold emails and they're doing Twitter outreach, they're doing Instagram outreach, they're doing Facebook group outreach, we don't want to compete doing the same thing, okay? Because if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same outcome, right? Instead, we want to out educate these prospects, because we've noticed that, again, we get 5 to 10 times as much from out educating someone before we try to take anything from them. So this is moving forward. Even members of the hundreds, this is exactly what we're doing, right? A bunch of setters who are sending a bunch of DMs, consultative DMs, one process selling VSL that's below 10 minutes, and then we have them follow up to get everyone booked in, right? I even launched VAs for my own offers to test this out, and one VA, I don't know if I can show you guys, but she sent, day 1, she sent 4 videos. Day 2, she sent 3 videos, and she booked a call. So she sent 7 process selling. So I was literally breaking down a process on how we can scale a company. So those prospects, 7 people received the video, and we got 1 booked call from 7 videos sent. That's ridiculous. Because on 2 days worth of work for the VA, I'm probably paying her, oh my God. I mean, let's say if she's working, you know what's funny is we're not even currently paying them hourly. I'm just paying them like, hey, every call you book me, I'll pay you $25 to $50. So that means that she sent 7 videos, she booked me a call, and I paid her, let's say, $25, $30 or $40, $50. I'm going to probably give her like a bonus, like $100, just to make her really excited about the work she's doing. But guys, this is the new way of scaling your appointment setting. Out educate to outsell anyone in your industry. And that's the reason why, and even to kind of like go back to this, think about the last thing you bought when it comes to services. It could be a course, it could be a program, it could be anything. Think about the last thing you bought and who you bought from. Let me ask you a question. Did that person necessarily outreach to you and then you ended up buying? Or had you been following that person, being educated by that person before you bought from them? Right? So my advice is figure out the thing, that the process that you follow to buy things, and recreate that for your prospects. And I promise you that by next week, if you implement this, let's say episode 10 or 13 on this Natural Born Leader pod, I want you to have booked at least 10 calls from you doing nothing but besides out educating and out DMing people, right? DM people, out educate them, then book calls. DM people, out educate them, then book calls. I believe that you can scale this to maybe 100 appointments per month easily. And the thing is, sending DMs is pretty effortless. You can actually use the same method on cold email. You can use this on Twitter. You can use this everywhere, right? And for me, it's one VSL. It literally takes you, maybe you take care of the VSL in a day, and it sells for you forever. So you're actually introducing leverage in your appointment setting process. And that's how you get rich. Leverage, leverage, leverage. If you're still doing outreach yourself, if you don't necessarily have consistent way of generating people wanting to learn more about what you do, and if you don't have something that sells them automatically without you being involved, you'll never become a 7-figure entrepreneur. Like, I'm sorry, right? If you'd like to work with pawnacquisition.io, you know where to find us. But I'd I'd be grateful. I'd be excited to help you grow your company, right? I know there is a billion other people who are doing this nowadays, but maybe you'll get to make a wise decision and choose the real ones. Have an amazing day. It's Friday. Let's change the world. Bye-bye.